Hello everyone, it is Martha here with you. So I know it has been a hot minute since I have been on here with the project, but I've kept you guys up to date with our lives this little past few months. So we did just recently move, but we are all settled on our acreage now, and there's less work outside because the fall weather has stopped the grass and the trees from growing, and so there's time to craft now. So I thought I will get a bit of a fall Halloween series started. So I'm hoping to do at least 5 projects. I am not sure how far I'll get with that, but I'm hoping to. So one thing I get asked for a lot is 6x6 albums, like to use 6x6 paper pads with. I actually don't have a lot of 6x6 paper pads, but I wanted to give you guys a 6x6 album. So I chose this collection from Simple Stories. It has small patterns like a 6x6 paper pack would, or smaller at least. So I thought it would be perfect for this project. So it's Simple Vintage October 31st by Simple Stories. This is last year's collection. They kind of do similar colorways every year, so it's possible you'll get the same kind of colors this year, but it's also very possible, especially if you go to any local scrapbook stores, that they'll have this actual collection because it's just from last year. So that's what I used. I did not have a full collection. I think I actually only had maybe 2 or 3 full pieces of paper left, and then just lots of scraps because I used this last year on a few projects. So here it is. I think it is so adorable. It is a cardstock album, a 6x6. Well, it's actually 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 because I wanted it to be easy for you guys to use your 6x6 papers, so you didn't have to cut them down as much. So it's super cute. It's got this little like envelope style closure on it. Really, really sweet little book. So it has this little, like this little envelope, and it is magnetic, so it closes. So it opens like this, and then this little piece is actually just tucked in here, so you can put your photos. This is one of my little favorite stickers from the collection. It says "not too scary" because that's kind of my vibe about Halloween. I don't like overly scary things. So it does have a 1 1/4 inch spine. So it opens like this, and on the front inside cover here, it has one of the cut aparts that you can put a photo on the back, and then just another little 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 cut apart. If you guys hear any jingling, my dog is right next to me and she's scratching and her collar's jingling. So it has a pocket here where these two go into, and then this pocket opens down, and then you have room for a little photo here. And then this little piece goes up, and I've got one of the little stickers, and I always just back them onto cardstock so that I can still stick my photos in behind them once I'm ready to do my photos. So you can fit a 4x6 photo here and on the back. I didn't mat that. And so then this flips back up, and then this whole section flips open for 2 more 4x6 photos. And then again, I've done the little cut apart, the little sticker backed on cardstock, so you can still put your photo back here. So just easy matting, very cute. And then here I have kind of like a waterfall. So this is one of the cut aparts that I cut down, and then it is closed with a magnetic. So this actually only has 1 page in it, but it has a ton of interaction, ton of room for photos. So it opens up like this. And then this was one of the cut aparts that I actually cut down, but you can put a photo on the back. And then here I have room for a photo, and then just some of the cute pattern paper. And again, you can put another photo on the back, and then a larger photo on this one. You can put another photo on the back, and then this is the back. This is the actual page base page, I should say. And that closes like that. And then on the back of that page, there's 2 pockets. And this is also one of the stickers that I just backed onto black cardstock. I think it looks really cute. I think it would be really cute to emboss something in white with white embossing powder here. And then these are cut aparts again from the collection. And they go in here. And then there's a larger cut apart back here, and it's kind of lined, so it'd be cute to do if you have any Halloween recipes you like to do or fall recipes, and then put a photo on the back. And then this opens up like this, and there's room for 2 large photos, or you could do a collage of smaller photos. And then the inside back cover is the same as the front. So again, I've got 2 of the cut aparts. Well, 1 cut apart and 1 just little photo mat, and you can put photos on the back, or you could journal in white gel pen. So that's that pocket here. And for this, I opted to just use one of the large 4x6 cut aparts and just do the Creeping It Real there. I thought that looked super cute. And then again, this flips up, so you have room for 3 photos just in that one spot. And then this closes up. And then again, you've got the large, a spot for 2 4x6 photos here. And then again, I just did a sticker backed on black cardstock, so you can still stick your photo back there. So it's super cute, came together really, really quickly. But I absolutely love this one. I can't wait to do a Christmas version. I will have the link to the Etsy shop for the cutting guide, because as usual, I go through the construction with you guys, and then any, pertinent things. I do show you guys how to cut this layer in the tutorial. But all the other mats, the mat layers, the insert layers, the inserts, all of that, all the pattern paper cutting will all be in the cutting guide link to my Etsy shop if you guys want to check that out. And let's get into the tutorial. All right, so we are going to get started. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to start by doing our cover first. I am not doing chipboard this time. We're just going to do 110 pound cardstock. I get my 110 pound cardstock from Michaels. So that is what we're going to use here today. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of black cardstock. So again, 110 pound, and it's 6 1/4 by 8. And on the 8 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1 3/4. So 1/2 and 1 3/4 on the 8 inch side. And then you're going to need another piece of just black cardstock, no score lines. That's 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. I always do, when I do my 6x6 albums, I always do 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. That way you don't have to cut your pattern papers down to 5 3/4, okay? So you can just use straight 6x6 papers on this album. And then this particular album is going to come in on the front with kind of like a cute little envelope look. So that's what this piece will be for. So this piece measures 4.5 by 6 1/4, and on the 4.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1.5. Okay, so on the 4.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1.5. Then what I did is in this little 3 inch section, so this little section is 3 inches by 6 1/4. What I did is from this edge up, I made a tick mark at 1. And then from this edge up, I made a tick mark at 1. And then this is 6 1/4, so I wanted to find my halfway point, which is actually 3 1/8. So I made a little tick mark right there, okay? So I'm just going to use my paper trimmer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut across here and cut across here just to make that little envelope point. You do not have to use the paper trimmer. You can use a craft knife and a ruler, or you can actually just even do it with your scissors, but this is right here and it's convenient. So I say, why not? So now we've got that little envelope points. All right, so now we've got that cute little points, and you can go ahead and erase those tick marks that we made, just like that. All right, so super, super cute. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take and fold all of our score lines. So fold and burnish all of the score lines. So this is going to be a super simple little project, something to kind of, if you haven't yet, got you into the fall Halloween crafting kind of spirit. So with this one here, we're going to go ahead and miter our attaching flap. So all that means is from the score line, we're going to cut at a diagonal in, just a little bit off. This just helps to hide construction and reduce bulk. We never cut into the score line, just from the score line away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over and I'm going to attach it right along that edge. But what I like to do is I like to take just a bit of my tape off first, and I lay it down just like this, and you line up this side first that does not yet have the tape, and then make sure you stay lined up on this side, and then you can just take that tape off and then give this a burnish. So our little album is going to have a 1 1/4 inch spine. So if you want to just leave it at this, you can totally do that. This can be your kind of more traditional 6x6 album, but I'm going to go ahead and attach this piece on this side. So it's got this cute like envelope look to it. So we're going to attach it right along this edge here. So again, let's miter here. Just like that. And then again, we'll just remove a bit of the backing. And then line it up here on this side first. And then again, once you've got it where you want it, you can press this side down and then just go ahead and remove the rest of that tape. And then we can burnish this. All right, so that's gonna come over just like this. So it is going to be only 1 inch here, and it's 1 1/4 here. So you didn't do anything wrong. That's what we wanted, because I wanted it to kind of be a little closer on this side. So I'm gonna grab some magnets because we're gonna do a little magnetic closure on this. So I'm going to take a piece of tape. This is my double-sided tape, and I'm gonna just place it right about there. You don't want to put it too far this way, because then the pattern paper will have a hard time covering it. Then we'll take another piece of tape, put it upside down, so sticky side up, and let our other magnet catch. And these are just my 12 by 1 millimeter magnets that I just get from Amazon. And then you're just going to close it and make sure that everything stays nice and straight. And then just kind of press with your fingers here. And then just slide it off. And then again, make sure everything's nicely attached. And then that'll just be what keeps our cute little album closed. All right, so for the inside of our cute little album, I've already done the inside back cover. So we have a pocket here, and then this flips down and this flips up. So you have room for 4x6 photos on this flap, and then 5x5 or 6x6 on this flap. And then I believe you also have room for 4x6 photos here. And then that closes, and then this whole thing opens up for more photo space. Okay, so that's the inside back, and we're going to do the inside front the exact same way. I like to do inside back and inside front kind of the same. I think it's really nice to have symmetry. Also, it makes for a quick album, and we all have not a ton of time in our lives for crafting, so we might as well make the best of it when we are crafting. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of 65-pound cardstock. So everything inside the album is going to be 65-pound cardstock. The outside was all the 110-pound. The inside's also, or is all going to be 65-pound cardstock. Again, I just buy it from Michaels. It's just called black. All right, so we're going to need a large one that's 6 1/8, because our cover is 6 1/4, I want to do 6 1/8 so that it doesn't get sticky or impede on the one page we're going to have in the middle. So it's 6 1/8 by 11. On the 11-inch side, you're going to score it 1/2 inch and at 6 3/4. Okay, so you can go ahead and fold and burnish on those score lines. So this one's going to get folded down, our little attaching flap, and then this one is going to get folded up like so. All right, and then on the top here, we're going to have a pocket, and our pocket, oh, that was the wrong piece. I was like, what's wrong with that piece? Our pocket measures 3 1/2 by 7 1/8. On the 7 1/8, on 7 1/8 side, you're going to score it 1/2 inch, flip it in the scoreboard and score it 1/2 inch. And then on the 3 1/2 inch side, you're just going to score it once at 1/2 inch. Okay, and we can go ahead and fold and burnish these. So I hope you guys are able to use some of your 6x6 paper pads with this album. So what we're going to do now is cut across our corners. So where the two score lines intersect, you're just going to cut just below where they intersect. If you cut too high, then you're going to have like a hole in the corner. So just below where they intersect. And then I always like to burnish from the top, because this is going to give you your nicest, flattest, smoothest pocket. So this is going to get attached on top of this flap here, all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to use my art glitter glue, and I'm just going to put it on just the bottom, the long bottom attaching flap. And it's going to go all the way to the bottom and all the way to both sides. And since you are using glue, you have a little bit of a second to move it around. And then you can open it up, and then we'll put glue on these two flaps here. And then we'll close it down. Just like that. And then before we attach our little flap, we're going to add a magnet for the closure. So again, these are my 12 by 1 millimeter magnets. And I'm going to grab my tape, and I'm going to place one right about here and put a piece of tape over top. Then we're going to get another piece of tape, sticky side up, let that catch, and then just close it down, making sure everything is nice and flat. And then again, just kind of try to slide it off versus like pulling it straight up. And then we're going to add our flap here. And so our flap is 4 by 6 1/2, and on the 6 1/2 inch side, you're just going to score it 1/2 inch. This is such a quick album. You could probably put it together in under, for sure, under an hour, just for construction. And then have your fun decorating it. It would be even fun to put a couple together for Christmas gifts. Just so fast. So this is going to get centered on this bigger flap up here, right along our score line, but not on it. Then burnish it. And then that'll just close up just like this. And then we can go ahead and attach it here. So it's the same height as our album, but it's 1/8 of an inch narrower. So just center it in there. You do not need to miter these, because our pattern paper or cardstock or whatever you're using will cover the construction. So just right along the top and just leave yourself about a 1/16 of an inch on both sides. If anything, kind of go more to the outside than the inside because you don't want to get in the way of your score line from your spine. Just like that. And you can burnish. You can open it up and burnish it as well. All right, so that is our inside, front, and back in. Now let's work on our one center page. Okay, so we are just going to have one main page in the middle. And so our page is going to measure 6 1/4 by 6 3/8. Okay, so it's going to be 6 1/4 tall and 6 3/8 wide. On the 6 3/8 side, you're just going to score at 5/8. And if you don't know, on your scoreboard, the eighths, it goes like this, right? So all of these little tick marks are eighths. So if you want to count, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eighths, and this is where you would score. Or it is the next score line after your 1/2 inch mark. That's 5/8, okay? So that is where you score. And then we can go ahead and fold this score line. And this is all still the 65-pound cardstock. All right, so we're going to just fold that so we have our blank page to work on. So this is going to be kind of a waterfall type of a page. It's going to be a side waterfall with alternating kind of sizes. So our first piece is going to be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And it doesn't matter which side you score on, but just score 1/2 inch on one of the sides. And then you're going to fold and burnish that. And we can go ahead and glue this centered into our page, okay? So we're going to grab our glue. So you're going to glue it along the score line, but not on the score line. And just centered in. I always like to pick it up and make sure it's where I want it. Just like this. And then the next piece is going to be 4 3/4 by 5 1/4. It's going to be 4 3/4 wide by 5 1/4 tall. On the 4 3/4 side, you're going to score 1/2 inch. And again, just fold and burnish that. And that is going to get centered on the previous flap that we just did. So we are going to glue that right on there. And just center it. It's black on black, so it's a little bit hard to see. So you can certainly pick that up and make sure that it's nice and straight for you. And burnish it. And then our next one is 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. And on the 3 3/4 side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. So this is the 3 3/4. This is the 4 3/4. On the 3 3/4, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And fold and burnish that. And then glue it on. And again, you're just going to center it onto this flap. This is going to look so cute once we get all the pattern papers on here. Just like this. All right, so it's pretty nice and flat on its own, but we're going to add a little closure flap. And this was just a scrap, so I didn't even measure it, but it measures 2 3/8. 2 3/8 by 5 3/8. And on the 5 3/8 side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. So 2 3/8 by 5 3/8. And then on the 5 3/8 side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. You could definitely go to 2 1/2 by 5 1/2. Like I said, this was just a scrap. So I'm going to add my glue here to my little 1/2 inch flap. And I'm going to open these up. And I'm going to center it on this side of my page, so opposite to my flaps. Just like that. And then you can close it up. And we're going to add a magnetic closure here. So again, if you don't want to use magnets, you don't have to. It doesn't really need a closure. Like you could get away without it, but I just kind of like to do that. So I'm going to grab my tape and I'm going to put my magnet on top of my my little closure flap, just in case I don't want to cover the back of it. Then I'm going to take another piece of tape and I'm going to kind of feel where my magnet is. I'm going to put it sticky side up. I'm going to let my magnet catch. Maybe move my tape a little bit. And then just close it down. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then close it down. All right. And that's going to be the front of our page. So we have lots of photo space here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you could potentially even put a nice photo or journaling on the back here. So that is the front of our page. All right, so for the back side of our page, we are first going to have a flap. So our flap measures 5.5 by 6 3/4, and on the 6 3/4 side, you're just going to score at 1/2 inch. And we can fold and burnish for that. And then it's going to have a pocket on the top, and the pocket measures 5.5 by 6.5. And on the 6.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, flip it in the scoreboard and score at 1/2 inch. And then on the 6.5 inch side, or sorry, the 5.5 inch side, you're just going to score at 1/2. And we can go ahead and fold and burnish our score lines, just like this. Very easy. And then we can cut our corners. So remember, just where those score lines intersect, just below there. That way you're not going to cut holes into your corners. And then we can burnish from the top. Just like this. And then this is going to get attached to the bottom of our flap. So our little flap is up here. This is going to get attached to the bottom. So we are going to add our glue just to that long one first. And it should go all the way to the bottom and all the way to both sides. And again, you can pick it up. Make sure it's nice and straight for you. And then burnish. And then flip it open. And add glue here as well. And then just close it down. And burnish. All right, and then we'll add our another pocket across the bottom here. So this one measures 3 3/4 by 6.5. On the 6.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2. Flip it in your scoreboard and score at 1/2. And then on the 3 3/4 side, you're just going to score at 1/2 once. And again, we'll fold and burnish. Just like that. And we'll cut across our corners just right below where those score lines intersect. And then burnish from the top. And then we'll add our glue just to the bottom.
and it should go all the way into the bottom and all the way to both sides. Just wipe that glue off and then open it up and give it a burnish. And we'll add our glue to the sides here. And close it down. And burnish. All right, so now we can add our whole little flap to our page. So it is 1/8 of an inch narrower on both sides. So just center it in. And I'm just gonna add my glue. Before you glue it on, make sure that your little, on the other side, your magnetic flap is coming in from this side, and then flip it just so you're not gluing it on upside down. Have some upside down pockets. Just make sure to get it glued nice and straight right along the top. And then burnish it. All right, just like that. All right, so I've brought the book back in and we're gonna go ahead and attach our page in. But what I've done is on our little 1 1/4 inch spine, I made a mark at 5/8 in and at 5/8 in. So that's why our little attaching flap was 5/8, so that it could be centered on our spine, okay? So you're gonna make a mark at 5/8 in on this side, 5/8 on the bottom, and then we're going to attach our page right along that. Our page is the full height of our book, so just make sure you don't go too far up or too far down. And I'm going to add my art glitter glue to this whole flap, just like this, and then I'm just going to lay it down, just lining it up on that 5/8 mark. Just make sure it's nice and straight. You can always open it up. Make sure it's nice and straight here. Make sure it's not going past your score line on this side. That is looking good. So you can go ahead and press it down nice. Just like that. So you'll have the same amount of space at the front and the back. And then that is the construction done. And there's still room for so many little inserts and all kinds of fun stuff in here. All right, guys, so I'm just going to show you how to cut your little envelope piece here, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory. You guys know I just go down 1/4 inch with all my layering, but there will be the full cutting and scoring guide linked below to my Etsy shop, so you can get, you know, all the sizes for the layers and the inserts and the insert layers and everything throughout the whole book. But I do want to show you how to cut this. So I've cut a piece of the pattern paper, and I've cut this like little boo piece that I want to use here from the collection. So this piece measures 6 by 2 3/4, so 6 inches by 2 3/4. And I already went ahead, and I don't know if you'll be able to see, yeah, you can kind of see it right there. I made a mark at 3 inches because that's the center. And then what I'm going to do, I am going to lay this down, leaving an even black border on these 3 sides. So make sure it's an even black border. Take your time with this step. It is your cover. And then you're going to want to make sure your tip is still poking out. And then I'm going to mark up about 1/8 of an inch on both sides. So it might be a little hard to see because of my paper here. That's what I did. And then you can use your scissors, you can use your paper trimmer. I'm going to use my paper trimmer just because it's a little bit of a, it's a bit of a longer run there. And I'm going to line up my tick mark and my tick mark. So I'm going to line up this one and this one. And I'm going to cut across. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to cut across. And that should give us the perfect layer to go in here, and it does. So you see how we have that even black border all the way around? That's what you want. But you will have seen the rest of the finished project in the at the beginning of this video. So like I said, I'll have the cutting and scoring guide linked below to the Etsy shop if you want to know every size and measurement through the book. But other than that, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm so excited to be back. And I'm already thinking of making a Christmas version with this book. I've actually already made another cover for the Christmas version. So I think it's going to be super cute. But I'm very excited to be back, and I hope you guys like it. Let me know below if you like it. Let me know if you want more 6x6 books, or if there's any other specific sizes you guys might want to see. I would love to do that for you too. So thank you so much for joining me. I will also link my Create with Martha Tucker Facebook group below, so you guys can join me there. I do a lot more updates there. I'm kind of a little bit more active there. But I am obviously hoping to be a lot more active here now as well, now that we're settled into our new home. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.